To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Thomas Olson and Skeleton Crew Studios' Forestrike adapts this aphorism into a turn-based/real-time Wuxia action hybrid. This strategic martial arts roguelite really makes you feel like a master when you get everything right. I've never played anything exactly like Forestrike before, and despite some minor exceptions I'd take with its endgame, it's one of my favorite indies this year and a high-value target at its price point. Forestrike's developers are best known for 2021's Olija, similarly published by Devolver Digital. However, there's little comparison outside its 2D perspective and pixelated art style, with Olija a kind of post-colonial dark fantasy action-adventure. We are fortunate to have David Tako's evocative artwork once again in Forestrike, infusing characters and events with delicately rendered portraits in scenes that perfectly complement the chunky, evocative pixel art. The game utilizes a familiar roguelite framework with randomly drawn techniques and relics to accrue on each run, but the core experience centers on instanced combat against groups of baddies akin to interactive Jackie Chan film scene dioramas with a signature twist. You can practice each procedurally generated fight an infinite number of times before committing to your final and true attempt.
The long road from a ruined temple. Martial artist Yu arrives to a monastery in disrepair. Here, trainees and adepts once practiced the mystical tradition of Foresight, a kind of meditation used to explore future events and conditions, experimenting with the very notion of choice. Pledged to rescue the Emperor, Yu embarks each day on a journey through 4 regions to reach the palace, fighting mooks and masters, and growing stronger with every step. Or is he? Is Yu seated in a temple, locked in a trance, living out his adventures and intentions purely in his mind via Foresight? With each attempt, he enlists the help of a martial arts master who rewards his progress with new techniques and commentary, expanding Yu's combat vocabulary. But are these masters even real, or personified memories and hallucinated lessons? Exploring these narrative mysteries isn't a requirement to appreciate Forestrike's engrossing strategic combat and buildcrafting, but its sophisticated storytelling quickly became as important to me as the gameplay. It's by no means a dialogue-heavy experience, but there's a graceful economy to Forestrike's script, a special care placed in what the game deigns to explain outright and what it chooses to hide or gate behind progress.
A roguelite combat puzzle with free retries. You can pause each morning to catch up with devoted custodian Pakun, rummage through his collectible hats, inspect past run stats and records, or possibly encounter a master for a quick chat. When ready, he ventures to the Moongate, selects a master, and sets off for the capital city. Outside the monastery, Forestrike offers your typical roguelite map with different encounter nodes, rewards, and shops, though the path is simple with few surprises. Most nodes transport you to a single-screen battle against a group of enemies, with satisfied bonus conditions offering increased gold and rewards. Environments are exactly what you'd expect: countrysides, bathhouses, streets, creaky bridges, but they're beautifully assembled and detailed. Nothing prevents you from immediately initiating combat, but pressing the left trigger enables Foresight, darkening the screen with storm clouds, which give you free rein to experiment, Edge of Tomorrow style. Should you punch the brawler ahead of you, quickly turn around to confront the bow-wielding enemy at your back, then finish off the brawler by kicking him into the rifleman ahead. Or dodge the first blow outright, focus on the rifleman first, then fire the gun at his pals. Fights that seem straightforward can be treacherous, and intimidating squads may disguise a quick turnkey solution. There are weapons to deflect, break, or equip, traps and hazards to avoid or leverage, and stronger, stranger enemies who require unique approaches and resources, lest you suffer precious damage to use meager 3-hit-point health bar.
Techniques, relics, and martial art styles keep runs feeling fresh.
I immediately recalled indie roguelite Shogun Showdown in my first few Forestrike runs. Whereas the former is strictly turn-based, it evokes this game's butterfly effect basics, where careful choices and positioning can see your enemies haplessly take each other out around you. Even so, a clever plan is not enough on its own, as you also need to be able to execute it and anticipate potential mistakes. It's not uncommon to practice a fight half-dozen times, then encounter an unexpected smag in your real attempt. Still, the randomness of which techniques and relics you obtain dictates the flow and function of a run. On your own with basic starter techs, you're considerably vulnerable. Dodge abilities utilize ki. Blocks and special attacks each have their own colored resources, and most of these typically start off with only 1 pip per battle. Absent boons that add pips or can replenish them under certain conditions, you'll have to think outside the box to disentangle the tougher challenges, so don't expect to hammer the dodge button and win. Masters are differentiated and add some nice replayability. I maintain that of the 5, 4 are equally viable and 1 is outright awful, but perhaps I just haven't discovered the most effective use of Tiger Style, which focuses on airborne attacks and launches.
The true Forestrike starts here. Other elements keep Forestrike interesting after you've already cleared a run with each master. You can generate a code after every successful fight to share with friends or retry on your own, experimenting and optimizing strategies for the fights to come. Replays can also be saved in a fight archive, though these are non-interactive and more like short, scrubbable videos of your conquests. The most dramatic twist in the game, and one that possibly constitutes a slight spoiler, is that completing a run with every master unlocks the reality run, a special game type which strictly prohibits the use of Foresight. When activated, the run is abruptly over when you lose all your health. With each successful run taking approximately 25 to 30 minutes at a minimum, that's a punishing commitment to undertake. Initially, this took me aback. You're telling me that to properly complete Forestrike, I have to avoid the game's most compelling mechanic? And that means risking wasted time on every run with the specter of bad RNG hovering over my head? How could that make any sense? And yet, once I reached this stage of my Forestrike training, the game offered some convincing philosophical reasons for this design. Explaining this in detail is well beyond the parameters of this review, but I'll summarize by saying I remain committed in my quest to complete a Forestrike reality run with each master. At some point, we must aspire to transcend our safety nets.
Forestrike would still be a great roguelite at twice the price. I expect some folks will disagree, and failing a Forestrike reality run because of a split-second chug on your PC that trips your timing is demoralizing. Nothing stops you from avoiding that mode entirely, and there's enough build diversity to enjoy finding new synergies at a reliable clip in the standard mode. Still, you'll also be missing out on some of the game's best writing. Curiously absent from Forestrike were some nice-to-have features, such as a daily challenge or training arena, and I hope they will be added at some later point. Regardless of how you play it, Forestrike is packed with strategic action and nuanced techniques to learn and combine. Some alter the rules of combat for both you and your enemies, allowing you to steal weapons, throw banana peels, stumble onto the floor and play dead, or even fart to stun nearby opponents. Some moves seem useless until you divine their utility over time, others that can turn the tide of a janky build, but wither in the face of certain foes. This all speaks to its creative and well-observed roguelike design. Fans of Sifu and Shogun Showdown should feel the distinctive draw of Forestrike at first blush, and any roguelite vet will appreciate the game's crunchy systems. Some will be frustrated by its endgame. Others might feel hindered by the deliberate, occasionally restrictive combat puzzle at its core. But Forestrike attempts something original and argues its case well. It's a steal at twice the price.